there is a comparison when you look at a 24-hour job versus a 15-hour job. Then naturally one person is going to feel let down.
Yes.
Correct? And more than physical, it's a very mental job as well, being a mother, because constantly you are thinking about everything related to the child's well-being. You're constantly alert. The child is crawling, shouldn't bang their head against something. There's a constant worry, itna sa hi khana khaya, aaj ye nahi khaya, wo nahi kiya, aaj, the child did not go to the washroom, whatever, XYZ, health is not okay, बच्चे बहुत बीमार पड़ते हैं. So it is literally a 24-hour job. So definitely, that is why wives will not understand कि ये 15 घंटे काम कर, but मैं तो 24 घंटे काम कर रही हूँ. So there is no comparison. And especially if the wife is working. Like I know.
So welcome to Health Charcha, the show that delves deep down into the world of mental health, personal growth and self-discovery. I am host Sri Prakash, and today we have a very special guest who is making a significant impact in the field of psychology and mental well-being. Our guest today is Sonal Sonawani, a compassionate guide on the journey towards mental health and emotional well-being. She is the founder of Cedar, Center for Depression, Anxiety, Relationships, a place where individuals find not just healing, but a path to personal growth and self-discovery. In today's episode, we will explore a range of topics from understanding the current mental health landscape, discussing practical tips for managing anxiety and depression, and even uncovering the power of self-care and compassion. We will also get a glimpse into Sonal's journey, her experiences, and her mission to make mental health resources available to everybody through Cedar. So whether you are someone seeking guidance, a mental health enthusiast, or just a curious mind eager to learn, you are in a treat today. Sonal's wisdom and her role in founding Cedar are sure to leave you feeling inspired and equipped with valuable insights. Without further ado, let's dive into enriching conversation with Sonal, the founder of Cedar, Center for Depression, Anxiety, Relationships. Welcome to Health Charcha, Sonal.
Thank you so much, Sri Prakash. Thank you for such a warm welcome.
So I was making some small research and I noticed that out of 8 individuals across the globe, one person is suffering from mental health issues, including depression, anxiety and all. It adds up a number called 1 billion people. And that's huge. In India itself, around 6 to 7 crore people are suffering from these challenges. And India is in fact a societal capital. Based on the data available, around 2.6 lakh cases are registered kind of on every year basis, and a lot of cases are unregistered as well. So where do you see this trend going?
You're absolutely right. And in fact, almost 23% of the global population, total population, is suffering from some mental health condition or the other, especially depression, and much more, almost a 40-45, which is almost half of us, right, who are going through something or the other.
Yes.
So see, the way this trend is going is actually concerning, because it just shows us that we don't have enough resources to help people who are seeking for help. A lot of people don't even know who they are supposed to go to help for, because the first line of contact is usually your spouse or your family members. And if they are not there to emotionally support you, then you go to your friends. And most of the times, what most of these people end up telling you is, कुछ नहीं ठीक हो जाएगा, या फिर शादी कर लो सब ठीक हो जाएगा, exercise कर लो ठीक हो जाएगा, yoga कर लो ठीक हो जाएगा. Yes, of course, exercise, yoga and everything does benefit you, but it is not the cure or treatment, and we don't even know what condition the person is suffering from. So it is very concerning, especially given the percentage of suicide that you're talking about, especially in India, because India really needs more resources. Currently, we are not very well equipped.
So if you just can tell, like, what are the main reasons for this? Because the people I am dealing with, a lot of people are suffering from depression just because of relationship concerns. Might be at family, might be at office.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
have bad
yeah,
relationship with their bosses, and they don't know because of recession, jobs, and all.
yep.
So, in your experience, if you can say the top three reasons which are causing the depression and the mental health challenges in today's scenarios.
Very aptly put. There's a reason Cedar is depression, anxiety, relationships.
Yes.
Because, we are social animals. Human beings are
Mhm.
social animals. We need a lot of social support. We need attention. We need love. We need care, understanding, everything. And most of that is derived from relationships. So when relationships are not going well, either they are toxic or
Mhm.
there are breakups, so many heartbreaks are happening. Most of the suicide notes you will see would be, किसी
Mhm.
ने मेरा दिल तोड़ा है, तो this is what I'm doing. Uh, Families not understanding. Let's say a child wants to pursue a certain career, but the family is against it. Or somebody wants to marry someone, but the family is against it.
Mhm.
So relationships at all levels is the one of the top causes and top reasons for suicide.
Mhm.
Second reason for depression is your genetic makeup.
Mhm.
It's very important. If you have somebody in your family who has gone through severe depression, which you don't know about, because उस जमाने में कोई बताता भी नहीं था कि इसको डिप्रेशन कहते हैं.
Exactly.
अकेले अकेले रहते हैं, दारू ज्यादा पीते हैं ना, alcohol addiction, and many times people go to alcohol because they are depressed,
Yes.
right? या फिर अजीब बर्ताव करते हैं, गुस्सा ज्यादा होते हैं,
Mhm.
and we don't really understand that they are actually going through depression. So आपको भी समझ में नहीं आता, but usually there is a genetic factor to it.
Okay.
Definitely. So that is the second reason. Third major reason is financial crisis.
Okay.
uh, you must have heard of cafe coffee days.
Yes.
Owner, yeah,
On, yeah.
that many people, many businessmen who go bankrupt, or many employees who've lost their jobs, especially during COVID. So many people lost their jobs.
Mhm.
They had their EMIs to pay, other loans to pay off, support the family, and they don't have the financial means at that point. We hear about so many farmers committing suicide
Mhm.
because of the debt on them. So financial crisis is a major struggle
Mhm.
that people are facing, and that does lead to depression. So these are the three main causes, major if we
Mhm.
have to categorize: relationships, genetics, money.
Yeah, exactly. And in today's world where you have a lot of options to choose, especially in relationships, and after some time, people end up losing their aims, like exactly what they are going to do, what they are willing to do, and there are no goals as such. So, and ultimately, something called failure, if they are not able to manage, they fall into depression, be it in
Yes,
all these three categories. So, when it
yes.
comes to managing depression, how will you suggest that how to manage failure?
Failure, of course, definitely. Uh, when people feel that, I'm a failure at something,
Mm-hmm.
correct? For them, it's a very big shock that, oh my God, how did I fail? Right? But let us understand, where does the idea of failure and success come from?
Mm-hmm.
It comes from a set standard or benchmark that somebody else has set for us. For example, if you get promoted, only then you're a success.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get promoted, you're a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you get 85% marks in your exams, then you're a success. If you get any less than that, you're a failure.
Mm-hmm.
So, it all really boils down to the family system, where the family is teaching these definitions of success and failure to their children and how they carry it forward. For example, what does success of a marriage also mean?
Mm-hmm.
आपका डिवोर्स हो गया तो failure. If you're living together for years and years, that's a success. So these definitions actually society has set for us, and it is very important to break free of these definitions and create your own definitions of success and failure, because by the end of the day, it is a matter of perception. So many times we don't so any undesirable outcome is considered as failure,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
अभी वो आउटकम क्या होगा, वो तो बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है, वो सिर्फ आपकी मेहनत के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट नहीं है,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have to consider all the factors and not take 100% responsibility of
Mm-hmm.
the outcome or the undesirable outcome. When you take 100% responsibility, then you feel like a failure,
Mm.
right? So success and failure are very, very subjective. There is no definitive
Yeah, that's very,
category
very true.
that you can put
Yes.
it to. Secondly, a failure can be considered as a stepping stone. Nahi. Stepping stone towards, so sorry about that,
This is
towards a learning experience,
mm-hmm. Yeah, that
right?
is very true.
आप जब तक कुछ गलतियां नहीं करोगे तब तक आप सीखोगे नहीं.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps in our personal evolution.
True.
And that is how we can perceive failure, and that is how people can actually perceive failure and success.
Right. So if you just see that, let's take the relationship first. And in olden times, if the marriage happens, they used to say is saat janam kab saath hai, or all those things. Even if they are struggling with each other, they are just there together because of the kids and all. Okay, but now there was a more thing, because mostly the man was working and the woman was handling the household things. But the situation is totally changed now. Now both are working, both are independent, and they can take care of themselves. And in these cases, they decide very quickly that okay, let's break up, because no one is dependent on anybody. And ultimately, after some time, they end up finding themselves lonely, and they get depressed. So, what is your take on how to go ahead with like situations where initially the relationship is not going good, uh, rather than breaking it up, whether we have to work on certain things, or we have to go with our choices at that point of time.
See, ideally, relationships that are toxic
Mm-hmm.
in nature, for example, जिन relationships में abuse हो रहा है, there is a lot of too many conflicts that you just cannot resolve. A person keeps criticizing you, gaslighting you, constantly making you doubt yourself. Somebody is constantly making you feel really bad about yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
you are also probably doing the same to that person, because it is an interaction by the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
right? There is a lot of power inequality and imbalance. इस एक जने के पास बहुत ज्यादा पावर है, के पास नहीं है,
Mm-hmm.
तो some relationships are better off broken. ठीक
Okay.
है, but majority of the relationships can be really worked upon.
Mm-hmm.
See, financial independence is just one part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that just because I'm financially dependent on you, so I must stick around with you.
Mm-hmm.
That is any which ways a struggling relationship. जिससे भी relationship में over dependence आ जाती है, वो struggle ही करते हैं.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? But it's more about understanding and respecting the perception shift that comes with financial independence.
Mm-hmm.
Because when both partners are financially independent, yes, they don't need money from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. They can have their separate lives and live a very, very healthy balance. They can have a very healthy balance between their personal needs and their partners and the couple needs. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
But that does not mean that is the only aspect of a relationship. If you respect and understand that,
Mm-hmm.
then there is no problem. But when
Mm-hmm.
you don't understand it, where you feel that no, I have to keep this person dependent on me so that they stick around with me, or I have to stick around
Mm-hmm.
because I'm dependent, and any which ways it's a no-go from the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, but yes, because there is more independence on both fronts, options are also plenty. And the grass is always greener on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So you always try to then look at the flaws of your partner, and then you see other people who don't have those flaws, at least
Mm-hmm.
overtly.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? So then you start comparing. Now, this is where people are going wrong, where they start comparing their current partner
Mm-hmm.
with other people, because you don't know how that person is going to be in a relationship with you. Correct?
Then how will you come to know the other person without kind of being in interaction with that person? For example, let's say person A and B both are in relationship, and B sees a C person, nice one. Okay. Now, okay, he sees some right things on that, but without kind of going to have a kind of proper interaction and all with the person C, they will not come to know about person C, right? And if they try to kind of go into that direction, the relationship already broken, because that guy who is with the girl, they tell, okay, boss, you are going somewhere else. So ultimately, there is no way, right? You can't figure out कि the other guy or girl will be the perfect match for you
Agreed, but
without
ये
breaking it
हम
up.
options, because we have given ourselves the permission to create these options.
Mm-hmm.
अभी commitment नाम की भी कोई चीज होती है.
Okay, all right.
See, I'm not saying, as I said, there are some relationships that need to be broken. You must get out of those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
But more often than not, whoever you enter into a relationship with, there are going to be problems with that person and the relationship also. It is a given.
Mm-hmm.
Two individuals, two brains, two life experiences. You cannot always match in every single thing, right? तो obviously third option हमेशा attractive लगेगा, क्योंकि you are focusing on the problem. अभी ये जो C है, वो C ऐसे ही नहीं आ जाता लाइफ में. वो C कब आ जाता है? जब A और B के बीच में there is some major disconnect. तभी थर्ड पर्सन को एंट्री मिलती है, राइट? गॉटमैन इंस्टीट्यूट जिसने खोला है, मतलब रिलेशनशिप सेंटर, वन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड्स लार्जेस्ट इंस्टीट्यूट्स फॉर टीचिंग पीपल रिलेशनशिप काउंसलिंग एंड कपल थेरेपी एंड मैरिज थेरेपी. They say that affairs don't break marriages, broken marriages create affairs.
Yeah, that's very true actually. Yes. All right.
So जब C की entry होती है, that is a good time to introspect what is going wrong in our relationship and how can we make it better, because we are committed. If there is no commitment, then there's no problem. There are many couples who are non-monogamous, who are polyamorous, who on the outset only say that, you know what, we are just going to date casually, or we will not try to be possessive about each other. बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं at the beginning of these kind of relationships, but then there are committed relationships जहाँ पे you have promised to spend a lifetime together, or to at least spend the next 10-15 years together. So it is always a good indicator of something needs to be worked on in our relationship, and if you can make it work, nothing like it. I'm also a couple therapist. काफी couples आते भी हैं where they say that, you know, there is a third person that I'm attracted to, or I'm actually having an affair with, right? So we always say that, you know what, let's fix things here. If they are unfixable, unresolvable, then it's okay to, you know, move on. Then आपने सारी कोशिशें कर ली but नहीं हुआ ठीक, right?
In many cases, right, where for example, husband is there, wife is there, and in-laws are there. Okay, in most of the cases, in-laws का wife के साथ जो है वो बनता नहीं है ना? And in these situations, husband actually suffers because he has connect with both of them, like
Correct.
his father, mother, and the wife. And many a times when these kind of situations comes and it kind of adds up with some financial tensions, the guy goes into depression. How to deal with these situations, like especially where your in-laws and your wife is not in proper sync?
Very good question, because maximum divorce case मेरे पास इसी reason की वजह से आते हैं. Okay. I'm not lying. Most divorce cases that come to therapists are, and when you go to the history, कि where did the marriage start going wrong? शादी से पहले सब अच्छा था. What happened after marriage? And many times the wife will say, he never took a stand for me. He never supported me. मुझे isolate कर दिया, तो कभी मेरे in-laws के साथ बन नहीं पाई. And of course, there are expectations of the wife from the husband that he will be the protector. Correct. अभी ये इंडियन फैमिली सिस्टम्स में ज्यादा होता है, बिकॉज हमारे यहाँ पे फैमिली की वैल्यू बहुत ज्यादा है, और होनी भी चाहिए 100%. पेरेंट्स obviously need to be given that respect. However, when you know you're bringing a new person into the whole unit, sometimes you may have to, the husband may have to talk to the parents separately. कि let us make life a little more comfortable for her. Okay. and talk to the wife also separately without taking the side of the parents of how he is with her no matter what. So he will not abandon her. अभी इससे होता क्या है कि the wife also feels comfortable. She starts trusting the husband. She knows that he has my back no matter what. Automatically, her behavior towards the in-laws will also be loving. Because she knows they are not a threat to me any longer. They are not a competition to me any longer because my husband is on my side.
Right.
So, अभी जब वाइफ का व्यवहार अच्छा होगा इन-लॉज के साथ, इन-लॉज also will automatically reciprocate. चलो, my daughter-in-law is being nice to us. We will be nice to her. And that is how the situation needs to be handled, at least in the first 1-2 years of marriage.
Right. Recently, I got a case where the couple, like husband and wife, as they got married, they flew to US and they came to India after 6 years. So there was no connect between husband, like between the wife and the in-laws.
Correct.
Now the wife and in-laws, they stay together and the husband is staying outside for the job purpose. Now the guy is in like he was telling all these problems, so I thought to ask you. So
ideally, see, he shouldn't get in the middle of the whole conflict situation. He should let them deal with it, but this is what separately he needs to do. He needs to tell his wife, no matter what, I am with you. You don't worry. So, see, listen, because बड़े बुजुर्ग काफी कुछ बोल देते हैं because that is how they have been also treated in their marriage, right? And they have a system and they have 45, 50 to 55 years of the same system that they are following. So for them to change it is very, very difficult. Comparatively, we can change it because we are still young. So we are more flexible that way.
Right. So it seems everybody should be more empathetic to each other rather than judging and making their own opinion. But at the same time, we can't change parents. So we have to be kind of taking the charge of being more empathetic and understanding them.
Yes, absolutely.
Many a times, communication between husband and wife is also one concern. For example, they have a kid, and the aim of both of like husband and wife to make the kid grow at its best, right?
Yes.
The perspective of husband is to work harder, make more money, and so that he can provide all the facilities required. And for that, he's staying outside, and maybe he's working 15 hours a day. And wife is at home, and she's taking care of all these household chores, and alongside that, they're taking care of raising the kid, everything. Now, whenever they have the conversation, the wife always says that, hey, you don't take care of anything. I have all the things to take care of. And the husband feels, okay, what I'm doing actually? No one respects me because wife is not respecting me. Kids don't know me because I don't spend time. In office, I have the problem because always people are judging there and the bosses are there. They are not behaving rightly to me. He loses the purpose itself. Why he is doing all those things? And he falls into depression.
Correct.
So
actually, very right. He said because we don't really pay too much attention to men's mental health. The last two questions, this question and the previous one, has a lot to do with men's mental health and how it is really, really ignored in our country. See, honestly, the scenario is changing today because women, even after motherhood, are working. So they are also carrying a part of the financial burden, definitely. Some women are probably earning even more than their husbands. But at the same time, now in these families, I think when the expectation comes that you need to help me at home, that seems to be a valid expectation because both are working, both are raising the child, and both have to contribute to the household and to the upbringing of the child. But yes, in cases where the roles are very clearly defined, because by the end of the day, it is a machinery. A family, a unit, a household is a machinery. For that machinery to function, each part of that machine has to do their role. And they have to do their role to the best of their commitment and abilities. So sometimes just clarifying the roles really help. That, okay, my role is to bring in money to make our life easier so that we can live in a better house, we can have help coming in to
Mm-hmm.
help you out, we can have good nutrition, we can have good uh, lifestyle, we can give good education to the kids, we can buy things whatever are required for home and personal needs.
Mm-hmm.
And the wife is then playing a role of making sure that the household is a peaceful, sanctimonious place where, the husband, the wife, the kids, all are living in harmony with each other. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Can the husband help the wife where she is feeling overwhelmed? Definitely. He
Mm-hmm.
can. He can. But हमेशा जैसे एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में सीईओ का रोल सीईओ ही करता है.
Mm-hmm.
करेक्ट. देन सीटीओ का रोल सीटीओ करता है.
Mm-hmm.
लिटिल बिट दे कैन हेल्प ईच अदर, बट
Yeah.
यू कांट एक्सपेक्ट कि you take over this role or this part of the role completely, because it is just like an organization. The household also has to function as a machinery, and both partners have to understand their roles very, very clearly.
Mm-hmm. No, the problem comes here because before, right, uh, they were able to give time to each other, because now, as this postpartum, they are also going through depression and anxiety issues and more of mood swings. And since her husband is totally dedicated on his task, he's like, this is my role, I'm doing it 200%. Now he's not able to give the time at all to his wife at all, because he is doing his job best. They have defined the rules and she's doing. But at the same time, both are human beings and both require kind of emotional support. And in the situation where the wife is, she requires more emotional support because she's going through a lot of hormonal changes and all. And that point of time, the complaining attitude comes because it's required actually. The husband should put more effort to kind of make sure things are going good with her as well. But since he is doing the same thing what he used to do before as well, where the wife was kind of pretty much stable in terms of hormones and all. Now, since he has increased his work and everything is going, his role is clear, he's doing the things. But from wife side, things are not going great, and that is leading to conflict.
It's both ways. I understand where I understand where the question is coming from, but that's what I'm saying. The wife also needs to understand that this is my role at the moment. And that is why I'm not having to play the role of a breadwinner or a provider. So a little bit of gratitude can really, really help over here on both fronts. Kya child is growing well because both people are playing their roles with complete commitment. But now over here, what happens is, now I also have a kid, right? And taking care of a kid is a full-time job. It's a 24-hour job.
Yes.
Correct? Obviously, there is a comparison when you look at a 24-hour job versus a 15-hour job, then naturally one person is going to feel let down.
Yes.
Correct? And more than physical, it's a very mental job as well, being a mother, because constantly you are thinking about everything related to the child's well-being. You're constantly alert. The child is crawling, shouldn't bang their head against something. The constant worry, itna sa hi khana khaya, aaj ye nahi khaya, wo nahi kya, aaj, the child did not go to the washroom, whatever, XYZ, health is not okay, बच्चे बहुत बीमार पड़ते हैं. So it is literally a 24-hour job. So definitely, that is why wives will not understand कि ये 15 घंटे काम कर, but मैं तो 24 घंटे काम कर रही हूँ. So there is no comparison. And especially if the wife is working. Like I know I've not taken a maternity leave for more than 3 weeks. 4th week I was working, right? So when the wife is also working, then it becomes an additional burden कि अभी मुझे काम भी करना है, मुझे घर भी संभालना है, मुझे बच्चा भी देखना है, तो husband तो has to. And in most cases, it is the mutual understanding between the couple. Out of love, you do things. Out of love, even when the husband is overworked. And even when they don't have time, they still push themselves just because they love the partner so much and they love the kid so much. They just push themselves that, okay, let me just pull this off 1 more hour, 2 more hours. And aisa nahi hai, 15 hours you're working, but there are so many moments during the day where you
Hmm.
can still stay connected
Yes,
with your
yes.
partner. You can just check in, how you're doing, how's it going, are
Mm-hmm.
you okay. बस
Mm-hmm.
उतना भी करो for your partner from both ends, wife and
Mm-hmm.
husband. वो भी काफी होता है. It just
Mm.
shows care.
Yes, that's very true. So, coming to the student point of view, a lot of students are committing suicide nowadays, and they have a lot of pressure from the families. Ki you have to perform in this way, you have to crack IIT, and if you don't crack, you are a failure. You have wasted this much money, and हमारी नाक कट गई society में, and all those stuff. So, what you will suggest, especially to parents, because ultimately they put pressure on their kid to become something what even kid is not willing to become. What will you suggest to those parents?
What I would suggest is definitely motivate your child to
Mm-hmm.
do better in life, to do great in life.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Every person should have that opportunity to become someone they really want to be, right? But at the same time, while you're motivating, do not enforce something
Mm-hmm.
that your child is not meant to do. See,
Mm-hmm.
when there is too much pressure, now there are children who are really meant to do IIT, IIM, XYZ, right? They have the interest, they have the passion,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the capability also. So when
Mm-hmm.
all three are coming together, definitely the child will succeed with or without parents' pressure.
Mm-hmm.
100% the child will succeed. Aaj nahi to kal,
Mm-hmm.
right? But there are children who are meant to do other things,
Mm-hmm. Right.
right? And that needs to be considered
Okay. So,
by
is
the
there any way to
parents.
figure out initially? Because when kids are raising, they show some sign, right? And since a lot of time parents wants to kind of complete their dreams through children, so how to kind of at that point of time you are able to make the decision ki boss, it is a different kid, okay, it's not me in the same form, in kid form. And how to figure out that, because even you have kid and you will be noticing some changes. So see, might even if you have two kids, then both are totally different, they have different behavior.
Correct.
So how to see small things and make the decisions.
See, I can tell from she's 2 years old,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and she is interested in music. She sings at this age,
Okay.
okay, and that too in sur. She loves music. She also likes dancing. She also takes her doctor set, जो play set, और हमारा checkup करती रहती है दिन
Okay.
रात. Puts bandage on us. She'll do,
Uh-huh.
whatever XYZ. So we also sometimes think कि ये क्या बनेगी बड़ी होके, you
Mm-hmm.
know, डॉक्टर बनेगी कि सिंगर बनेगी कि क्या बनेगी.
Mm-hmm.
So see, children by nature are curious and interested in everything
Mm-hmm.
you give to them. अभी हमने उसको डॉक्टर सेट दिया तो उसको इसमें इंटरेस्ट आ गया. उसको हम आर्किटेक्ट सेट देंगे, उसको उसमें इंटरेस्ट आ जाएगा. तो
Mm-hmm.
interest any which ways, children, because they are curious, they will be interested.
Mm-hmm.
But there you see कि किस चीज में ज्यादा देर तक इंटरेस्ट लगा रहता है. Many
Mm-hmm.
parents put their child in multiple classes.
Mm-hmm.
Many times the child drops 1, 2, 3 classes and sticks to at least one, which they know that they are loving, they're enjoying doing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is your first sign that this is what
Mm-hmm.
my child is really interested in. Second is your child good at it?
Mm-hmm.
गा रहा है बट बेसुरा गा रहा है, तो सीखने के बाद भी बेसुरा गा रहा है, so then
Mm-hmm.
your child is interested but they are not good at it. Now what will happen with that is, yes, your child will definitely be more passionate about music, but their self-esteem will go down if
Mm-hmm.
they only assess themselves and they feel that, what, I'm not good at this. So then
Mm-hmm.
the child will try and try and try and push efforts and put all their mental energy on doing something that is not a natural skill for
Mm-hmm.
them. So interest, aptitude, and personality. For
Mm-hmm.
example, if the child is scared of seeing blood
Mm-hmm.
और उसको आप डॉक्टर बनाना चाहते हो, करेक्ट,
Okay.
तो उसके खुद के इतने सारे fears है, and
Uh-huh.
the child gets nervous at the situation of a critical event, in a critical event, तो उसकी personality नहीं match हो रही है. So
Mm-hmm.
at the age of 14, 15, ideally career counseling, career testing करनी चाहिए.
Mm.
There are many institutes and well-known institutes that administer these tests and these 3 to 4 tests.
Mhm.
And that is how they come to know, okay, you know what, these are the possibilities.
Mhm.
That this is what your child is interested in, this is what they are good at, this is how their personality is, और तीनों का match मिला के ये आपके लिए best options हैं.
Right. Great. That's a nice perspective to put. So, all right. So, coming to the genetics issues, how to figure it out?
How to figure out if there's a genetic
Yes.
it's very difficult, especially when
Mhm.
it comes to mental health, because as I said, in the earlier generation, there were no tests.
Mhm.
Very few people were diagnosed with either
Mm.
depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, etc., etc., etc.
Mhm.
Right? But there are some telltale signs, especially of depression. For example, if you meet somebody who's 60 years old, और हम typically बोलते हैं ना कि ये सठिया गया, right? वो क्यों बोलते हैं? There's a reason behind that. Typically at age 55, 60, the person is very irritable. They are very cynical. They see the world only in negatives.
Mhm.
कि सब गलत है, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, कुछ सही नहीं चल रहा है. And it is most of the times a sign that the person has really tried to change their perspective over the years, but they couldn't,
Mhm.
because all they could then see was negativity around them.
Mhm.
And they tried to change it, try to make themselves feel better, but they couldn't.
Mhm.
Right? This is the first sign where you see that somebody, when I'm also taking history, I ask, is there anybody in your family who's very cynical, who has a very negative attitude in general towards life and others? And many times we get an answer that yes.
Okay.
हाँ, अभी कुछ लोग बहुत स्पिरिचुअलिटी में चले जाते हैं, कुछ लोग एकदम ही नेगेटिव हो जाते हैं.
Mhm.
At that age, you will see these extremes, two
Mhm.
extremes, right? Many times you find that somebody in the family has either died by suicide or has become an alcoholic,
Mhm.
drug addict, या फिर पहले अलग बिहेव करते थे, बाद में something happened and they are traumatized and they are now behaving very differently.
Mhm.
Correct. These are some telltale signs of somebody in the family going through a mental health condition. But there is no test
Okay.
to see कि आपके DNA में है कि नहीं है. अब तक वो आया नहीं है.
All right. All right. Okay. So, let's say this is genetic issue we figured out. Okay, this is a genetic issue. So, how to deal with these situations? Whether the person should be more sensitive to the age stuff, or how to take these cases?
See, depression, if specifically we are
Yes.
talking about depression,
Yes.
depression is mild, moderate, severe.
Yes.
ठीक है? Moderate, severe cases में ideally you should see a therapist or a psychiatrist or any mental health practitioner who knows what they're doing.
Mhm.
Okay? Mild cases में it's mostly situational depression, कि ये situation है इसीलिए I am depressed or I'm
Mhm.
feeling low. अभी depression के there are 9 symptoms of depression.
Mhm.
9 में से अगर 5 symptoms भी आपको है for more than 2 weeks and you're facing those symptoms every single day for 2 weeks and more than that, it means definitely you do have depression.
Mhm.
ठीक है? तो what are the symptoms? One obvious symptom is low mood.
Mhm.
Mood is low. कुछ अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है. You know, you're happy, you're smiling, you're doing your job, you're doing everything fine, but you're just not feeling good from within. Okay?
There is no excitement.
There is no excitement. You lose excitement. Second is loss of motivation.
Mhm.
You wake up in the morning and you don't feel like getting up and going to work. So many of my clients with severe depression don't even brush their teeth. मतलब
Okay.
इतना they lose motivation to even brush their teeth, take a bath. Correct? इतना मतलब that's absolutely severe I'm talking about. Okay? Third is insomnia और hypersomnia. मतलब कम नींद आना या फिर बहुत ज्यादा नींद आना. Right? They don't sleep at night or they sleep too much. Fourth is loss of appetite or overeating.
Okay.
मतलब या तो भूख नहीं लगती या तो बहुत ज्यादा लगती है. Right? And many people even put on weight during the depressive phase. You must be getting a lot of cases where emotional eating they are
Yes.
doing.
In fact, to be very precise, approximately 70% cases are coming where whatever the symptoms you told are there.
Yeah. Then there is low self-esteem and inappropriate excessive guilt. For example, अगर चाय में थोड़ी ज्यादा शक्कर हो गई चाय बनाते वक्त, then also the person will feel guilty कि अरे मैंने ये क्या कर दिया, मुझे थोड़ी कम शक्कर डालनी चाहिए थी, मैंने एक चम्मच ज्यादा डाल दी, oh God, now this tea is spoiled. That is inappropriate excessive guilt. उसके लिए guilt feel करने की जरूरत नहीं है, but फिर भी you start feeling guilty. Very low self-worth and self-esteem कि I'm bad, I'm not good enough, I don't deserve good things in life. तो ये सारे thoughts होते हैं. Then lack of attention, concentration, memory. The person feels dull usually. मतलब एक intelligent witty इंसान भी feel करने लगता है कि अरे मुझे ये word याद नहीं आ रहा है, या फिर मुझे नाम मैं भूलने लगा हूँ, या फिर the work that I'm supposed to be paying attention to, I'm not able to focus completely, right? Then there is, of course, suicidal ideation. Definitely.
All right. So if a person has all these 9 symptoms,
Any 5 out of these 9.
yeah, I have cases where all 9 are there.
Yeah.
So in that point of time, what they should look at?
So when you have all 9 symptoms, मतलब ये काफी severe तक हो गया है. See, the problem with depression is it is episodic in nature. मतलब एक episode 2 हफ्ते से 2 महीने तक 3 महीने तक रहता है, फिर वो अपने आप चला भी जाता है. That episode goes away on its own because our mind has its own self-correcting mechanism. Problem with depression is second episode is waiting to happen.
Okay.
And the second episode के जो symptoms है वो पहले episode से ज्यादा intense होते हैं.
Okay.
तो ऐसी second episode, third, मेरे पास जो लोग आते हैं they usually are in their 4th or 5th or 6th episode.
Okay.
क्योंकि first episode में पता ही नहीं चलता मेरे साथ क्या हो रहा है.
Yes.
Right? So ideally the person should be aware कि ये मेरा episode मेरे पहले हो चुके हैं कि नहीं हुए हैं. अगर हो चुके हैं then of course you should see a professional who knows. Now what will the professional do? The professional will first understand कि ये जो depression है उसका source क्या है. Many times it is multiple childhood experiences or traumatic experiences or some unhealthy belief systems that the person is carrying for years. कि I'm unfortunate, I'm unlucky, for example. ठीक है, कुछ हुआ नहीं है लाइफ में, सब सही है, but I'm unlucky, I'm unfortunate, I'm not good enough. अभी ये 3 sources usually we find out कि क्या है. Many times self-awareness itself helps. 50% of your problems are solved when you become aware कि oh, this is where it is coming from. It's like a eureka moment for so many people, right?
Right.
Then what the professional does is understands multiple subconscious processes कि अच्छा शायद ये complex है, ये conflict है, ये defense mechanisms आप use कर रहे हो, या फिर यहाँ ये need versus ये need का conflict है, ये match नहीं हो रहा है. That is why there is a internal struggle that you are fighting. So once you identify 50% of the work is done, remaining 50% is working on it. कि चलो अभी ये पता चल गया तो इसके ऊपर काम करते हैं अभी.
Right. Many a times I notice that the people who are in these situations, they are truly not grateful for anything. They hate everything. In fact, even if they are blessed with all those positive stuff, but even sometimes they hate that they were blessed with all those things.
Yes.
I had a client and she was a weight loss, in fact, but the situation was kind of the depression. So when I had counseling with her, so she was telling ki, I'm really unlucky. I was born in rich family. I did not get a chance to explore myself. Whatever I asked, I got everything. So that is when I'm very if I don't get anything now, I become very irritated and I kind of misbehave.
Yeah.
So how to deal with these kind of people where they got everything what a person's supposed to get to excel in life and they are not grateful for anything in life?
See, most people in depression are unable to be grateful क्योंकि उनका जो positive thinking का mechanism होता है वो ही नहीं चल रहा होता है. That is not there.
Okay.
But you can teach gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Simple things, Shri Prakash, the simple things that we can see, we can hear, we can walk, we can talk. We have a body that is fully functional in itself is a huge blessing.
Right.
And when I realized it is when I had a child, uska when I was pregnant and we used to go for our sonography every few weeks, jo jana padta
Mm-hmm.
hai for regular checkups. And when I saw her body being created,
Mm-hmm.
it was a miraculous, for me, it was life changing. I was like, this is a miracle. जो
Mm-hmm.
कुछ नहीं था, एक छोटा डॉट था, is a now fully functioning person with her
Mm-hmm.
own intelligence, her own consciousness. अभी वो कहाँ से आता है? And that is where you learn कि simple चीजों के बारे में हम सोचते ही नहीं है. We take it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we don't think, we take for granted the food that we are getting. We take for granted the water that we are drinking. Recently, I watched this series called Kala Pani. I don't know
Okay.
if you have watched it, but
Mm-hmm.
you feel grateful for even the water that you're getting,
Right.
right? So many things we have to be grateful for. So sometimes we have to teach gratitude कि आप
Mm-hmm.
बड़ी चीजें छोड़ो लाइफ में, पैसा, गर्लफ्रेंड, बॉयफ्रेंड, शादी वादी, वो सब छोड़ दो, कार वार, वो सब. You think about these little things in life and you will realize that how blessed you are.
Mm-hmm.
But we cannot force that gratitude on someone because honestly वो दिल से आता है. Now for
Mm-hmm.
somebody who has decided कि मुझे ग्रेटफुल होना ही नहीं है क्योंकि मुझे अच्छा लगता है दूसरों को ब्लेम करने में,
Mm-hmm.
राइट? तो
Mm-hmm.
आप कितना भी उस इंसान को ग्रेटिट्यूड सिखाओ, वो नहीं सीखेगा.
Okay. All right. So, do you mean ki kind of when kids are there of age 3, 4, 5, we should have a constant reminder to them that okay, you should be grateful for these things,
Yes,
or gratitude practice should kind of keep happening on
yes,
daily basis.
yes, absolutely. ये बचपन से ही सिखाना चाहिए.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that if this happens, right, this can totally change the way the whole relationship functions, because every time, whenever something wrong happens, you will come to know something which you are grateful
Yes,
for.
yes,
And this can totally change this like total phenomena of depression, anxiety, and all these mental health issues.
pretty much. Absolutely, absolutely.
Right?
See, but the problem is that people in depression aren't able to see it. So
Mm,
somebody has to make them see it.
right, right. So
That
I think this is one of the key points we can take out the session, that if you have a kid, make sure you are teaching them this gratitude things. And see, one thing I have noticed is kids never learn what you say to them; they just learn what you do, right?
absolutely,
So we have to be
absolutely.
more grateful. We have to while we talk to them, we have to show that gratitude to whatever things we have, and if we can just change this small thing, definitely I think this whole paradigm shift we can make.
It can really make a lot of difference. Definitely,
Great.
definitely.
So, so one question that pretty much towards your personal life, why you chose this? Why you chose this field? Because ultimately, in the age of technology and engineering and science and all, why you chose humanity and working as a psychologist and doing all the research, starting your own company kind of thing. So, what was the reason behind this?
It's a long answer. Do you have time?
Okay.
So a little bit you need to know about me is I've been always a very good student, and
Mhm.
of course my parents and everybody around me were expecting me to take up medical, or of course because उस ज़माने में, see, I'm from the previous generation. Pretty much we didn't know what was psychology.
Mhm.
किसी को पता ही नहीं था, right?
Mhm.
But so in my family, my uncle, my mama,
Mhm.
okay, he was battling depression for years, and believe me, we were shocked when he died by suicide because he jumped in the river during
Mhm.
floods and people saw him jump. It's not that he fell.
Mhm.
And he was an excellent swimmer. So, you can only imagine how much he just wanted to end his life. And he
Mhm.
was somebody who was full of life.
Okay.
We were shocked because he was always laughing and smiling, and he was my favorite uncle.
Mhm.
He was battling depression for the longest time, which we came to know after he passed away.
Okay.
That my Mossy and everybody told us that, he's been seeing a psychiatrist in Pune, and somehow the medicines,
Mhm.
whatever, the treatment didn't work out for him. He was a very, very severe case.
Mhm.
And definitely, that really hit me. I was in ninth standard at that time. और
Mhm.
तभी हमारे स्कूल में भी करियर काउंसलिंग वगैरह सब हो गया था.
Mhm.
And my father at that time pointed out that, why don't you see, ये सब engineering medical तो सभी कर रहे हैं.
Mhm.
Okay, why don't you do something to really make a difference in the lives of people who are not getting any help today?
Mhm.
Psychologist तो को पता ही नहीं था तब.
Mhm.
Psychiatrist तो फिर भी पता थे.
Mhm.
Right? Nobody even knew what's a psychologist. And that's where I gave it a thought ki, let's see
Okay.
how it would be. And that's why I chose psychology as a profession.
Mhm.
And then, of course, I went to Ferguson and completed my graduation, master's from there. Uske baad, I joined ACE Academy for Counseling and Education, where I was working for 5 years. Initially, I was working with children,
Okay.
with dyslexia, dysgraphia, autism, ADHD.
Mhm.
And dheere dheere, as our role also shifted in the organization, then I started working with teenagers, adults.
Mhm.
They also used to do a lot of career counseling. So all kind of roles in those 5 years, I was really blessed to have
Mhm.
been played. And then I went through a bout of depression. I told you depression is genetic,
Yes.
right? I went through a major episode of depression when I was promoted as regional head. I was just 25
Mhm.
at that time. And I remember being in a very, very, very dark space at that point in time. And I myself was contemplating taking my life. And I was calling these suicide prevention helplines, and nobody picked up.
Okay.
Nobody picked up. Somebody had mentioned some organization in Chennai कि उन्होंने मुझे कब का ही मैसेज because I had written a cryptic post that time that suicide is mostly attempted at night, so why aren't there 24/7 helplines, why do they work only from 9 to 9, as if लोग तभी suicide attempt करते हैं. तो
Mhm.
उन्होंने मुझे वो नंबर दिया था और I called that number, and that was a really life changing experience for me. The
Okay.
person who spoke to me, the volunteer जो था उनके organization में, and after that I decided that this is what I want to do.
Mhm.
I want to help prevent suicide. That's when I quit my job. I was 26, 27 that time. I quit my job. I
Mhm.
started a Cedar, and slowly with time, as cases came, as I got even more, because sirf I was focusing on depression and anxiety. At
Mhm.
that time, I was not taking up any other cases. The common factor was relationships
Okay.
everywhere. That's when I thought कि अगर relationships के यहाँ पे आप solve करते हो,
Mhm.
काफी लोग depression तक पहुंचेंगे ही नहीं.
Exactly.
And that's how the whole journey has been so far.
Mhm.
Uh,
Right, right, right. So, where do you see kind of yourself in next 10 years or so? Uh,
Interesting question. Uh, Shri Prakash, recently I've written a book. Okay, it's
okay.
on toxic relationships. It's going to be released this month itself.
Oh, nice. What's the title of the book?
Breaking Point: Reclaiming Your Life from Toxic Relationships.
All right, all right. I love
It will be, I'll
to.
send you a copy for sure. Yeah. Where I see myself honestly is, of course, writing,
Mm-hmm.
because one on one, I can only help 5 people a day,
Mm.
8 people a day maximum. One session is for 1 hour,
Mm-hmm.
right? My organization probably can help at the most 30 to 40 people a day. Honestly, उतने लोग आते भी नहीं है. Believe me, because people don't know and there is a lot of stigma,
Mm.
right? But chalo, max to max 30, 40 people a day. Any which ways the sessions are weekly. So on an average, if you see, we are helping only 50 to 100 people for months. There is a huge population out there who need more help. Now, one way to reach all of them is to broadcast in a certain way where people who are also afraid of approaching professionals can have resources ready at hand to get their help at their level, whatever is possible. So I see myself as an established author, an expert on especially relationships, because India में psychology ही नया है, relationship counseling तो और भी नया है. Right. Definitely that. And I see Cedar as a very important name in the field of mental health. I see somewhere if we can be a part and work with the government to provide these services throughout the nation, free of cost to many, many people, or at least affordable to maximum people. That's where I see.
Right. It's a great thing, Sonal, because it's a service to the humankind, and at the same time, you'll be saving a lot of lives altogether. So all the best for your all the noble efforts. And one thing at last, how can people reach you out? Let's say people have issues with all these things, whatever we have discussed. How they can reach you out?
They can reach me out through the website, beyondtherapy.in.
Okay.
Right. All our contact details and everything are given on the website.
All right. Cool. So thank you so much, Sonal, for spending your time here, precious 1 hour approximately. And definitely a lot of people who are seeing this video might have got some insights on all the topics we have discussed. Definitely, I'll suggest the people who are seeing this and they find the symptoms, whatever we have discussed, they can reach out you in the way where they can get treated and can have the best life going forward. Thank you so much, Sonal, for joining.
Thank you so much, Sri Prakash, for inviting me. Thank you.